a time limit with our with my colleague from the IDF spokesperson unit. So we will start with him, and then I will introduce the rest of the participants in this press conference. So we'll start with the Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner. Peter, I know that you have a lot of things to do, so we'll start and we'll see if there are any questions for you.
Sure.
And let you go. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning from Tel Aviv. Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner, IDF spokesperson. Day 10 of our activities, war on Hamas, since the brutal attack of October 7th. We're continuing our widespread strikes against Good morning, everybody. You hear me now? Yeah. Thank you. We are in day 10 of our war on Hamas after the government instructed us to destroy Hamas's capabilities, its infrastructure, pursue its leaders, and restore security and safety to the people of Israel. Indeed, throughout the last 10 days, the IDF has conducted hundreds of strikes against Hamas operatives, the leadership, its institutions, and its terrorist infrastructure. The terrorist infrastructure includes advanced capabilities such as explosive drones, including rockets, including tunnel capabilities, and including the leaders themselves. I can say and confirm at this time that we have targeted and killed several of their leaders, including terrorists that actually participated in the butchering of babies in their bedrooms. And we continue to act in order to destroy and demolish Hamas's capabilities, governing and military capabilities. Hamas will not be permitted to govern the Gaza Strip as a staging ground for attacks against Israel and our civilians. On day 10, I can still confirm that there are still concerns of security in southern communities of Israel. Over the last 24 hours, there was 3 engagements in and around the border area with terrorists that attempted to attack Israel, including in Nir Am, Nachal Oz, and near Kisufim. I can confirm that in each of the engagements, every time a terrorist meets an IDF soldier, the terrorist is killed. We are continuing to press for an evacuation from the north of Gaza Strip towards the south. On the day 4 of since our calling, we have seen several hundreds of thousands of people listening to our efforts, calling people to move south in order to evacuate the area and enable us to differentiate between Hamas terrorists and non-combatants. And indeed, it is part of our humanitarian efforts as a temporary measure to remove people from harm's way while we deal with Hamas. And that is contrary to what Hamas does, as they operate and in order to maximize civilian casualty of Palestinians themselves. Over the last few days, we've seen extreme efforts of Hamas to try and prevent evacuation of people, including physical barriers, what appears to be explosive devices on the roads. And indeed, they are challenging people's will to live, the Palestinians' will to live in Gaza, by preventing them from moving. We are taking all of the steps necessary in order to encourage the people to move south. We know that the situation is of concern, and absolutely the IDF, as a professional military, works within the realm of the laws of armed conflict. We do not target intentionally or seek to target or harm civilians, unlike Hamas. And indeed, the military is operating in order to achieve its goal in destroying Hamas's capability. The ground forces are currently several hundred thousand, some 300,000 reservists have been called up for military service in the reserve. A vast majority of those have been positioned on the border with Gaza in anticipation for an instruction by the government to mobilize into Gaza and to take control of the hub of terrorism, the fortress that Hamas has established in Gaza City, and in order to prevent them from ever being able to attack us again. And the 300,000 is also includes forces that we've positioned in the north along the frontier with Lebanon in anticipation with the situation with Hezbollah. And as we see, we've had several attacks by Hezbollah across the border in the north with several anti-tank guided missiles fired at our forces. And I would like to say that the way we anticipate, the way we see is Hezbollah is currently trying to increase pressure at the will of Iran in order to undermine the efforts to destroy Hamas's capability in the Gaza Strip, and they're doing it in a way to escalate the situation on the border in order to challenge Israel and the IDF. We are continually watching the situation and evaluating the situation after all of the developments, and together with our allies, the United States, coordinating in order to ensure that the security and interests of the State of Israel are maintained. Lebanon, the state of Lebanon, is the sovereign of the country. Every incident that happens in its country is under the full responsibility of the state of Lebanon, and they will be held responsible for it. In one of the incidents yesterday, I can say that near Shatula, a civilian was killed and 3 others were injured. And I can confirm that also an IDF officer was also killed in a Hezbollah attack on the border yesterday. Perhaps I would say this finally. The IDF is a strong military. We are prepared. We have a lot of forces, motivation in order to secure the state of Israel. Our responsibility is to ensure that the state of Israel is safe and secure, and we will expand our military operations against Hamas to destroy the genocidal regime of Hamas and never let them attack us again as they did on the 7th of October. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. And just I will attend to some of the questions that are on the group chat. This is an on-the-record press conference, so you can quote anything me or any of the other participants is saying. And there will be time for questions afterwards. I don't think that we'll have time with Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner because his time limit, I'm not sure we'll allow it. We will continue. I'll just explain a little bit what we'll have in the next few minutes. So we'll talk to 2 of the family members of the victims and the abducted Israelis that from the terror attack on the October 7th, and then I'll say a few words from the Israeli MFA, and we'll open the floor for a Q&A. We will start with the first family member, Renana Gomez. Renana, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Just a minute. Getting my camera open.
Renana, thank you for joining us on these
Hi.
12 days. And I'll leave the floor to you to tell us your story.
Okay. Since you've heard so many stories on the last 10 days, I'm going to try and just give you a full picture of how it feels. 6:30 in the morning, October 7th. I'm at my partner's place in Kibbutz Sufa, which is nearby my kibbutz, 15 minutes drive. My boys, this is their weekend with their father, are sleeping alone at my place in Kibbutz Niros. They're 12 and 16. on a normal place, on a normal situation. It sounds like a good arrangement. My ex-husband and his girlfriend are sleeping in his house, which is only 400 meters away. Red alerts go off both in Sufa and Oz. The attack starts. 2 hours passing by, phone calls every couple of minutes from my boys. They're scared. I start getting texts from other members of the community telling that terrorists are walking around freely and trying to get into houses. My boys are saying that they hear gunshots outside the house, and I'm trying to tell them it's probably the army helping them, keeping them safe. 2 hours of terrifying fear. And then I hear online, on the phone, as I'm with them on the phone, I hear people speaking Arabic, opening the door. Afterwards, I found out that my eldest 16-year-old, who's a very strong guy, likes the gym. He was holding the door very, very hard. They had a hard time opening the door, but they did, and they opened it. And they snapped my 2 boys out of their bedroom and dragged them into Gaza. The last thing I heard was my youngest, who's only 12, saying, "I'm too young, don't take me." And they took them. And I've heard nothing about them since. It feels like fauda. It feels unreal. It still feels unreal. I feel like I'm in a bad dream. Must wake up at a certain point. The dream just goes on and on. The nightmare. They had cameras, the terrorists. Israeli soldiers have cameras on them, so if there's by any chance, a doubt that they did anything that is immoral, they will be judged. These guys had cameras so they can put it on Instagram and Facebook and celebrate the murder and the destruction. I can't even start to tell you what the place I used to live in and the place I grew up in all my life, what it looks like now. It used to be such a beautiful place. There's nothing left. Nothing left. They burnt all. They destroyed everything. They stole everything we had. That I don't care about TVs and computers. I care about my kids. Since then, my daily routine is to work hard to get them back in any way I can. Any routine feels, being in a normal routine, getting a shower, getting into bed, eating, sleeping, dyeing my hair. Everything feels so wrong because somewhere in a pit, somewhere in Gaza. I don't know if they're eating. I don't know if they're sleeping. I don't know if they're tortured. I don't know if they're together. I don't know if they're alive. There are 80 members of my community that were taken out of less than 400 people. 80 people. Another 30 were killed. There is no Niroz anymore. Our community is gone. I always tell my kids that the kids in Gaza struggle a lot harder, that they have a much worse life than we do. They don't have running water. They don't have electricity. My heart goes out to every child in Gaza who is killed, every mother who's losing her child, even if he was a terrorist, 17, 18. But what kind of mother grows such monsters? How can it be that I'm so empathetic to them and they don't see us as humans? These are not neighbors. They are not neighbors. I used to be so pro-Palestine. I still believe that this is the right way for humans to live next to each other. You know, borders are between countries. They're not between people. They're not between babies and children and elderly people. I found out on the worst way that they're not neighbors. There is no symmetry here. I thought that Islam was like Judaism, against anything that is inhumane, against brutality, against rape, against murder. But I found otherwise. I won't keep silent. I will get the world to get my children back. I'm sorry, I'm very, very emotional. I want you to enlist the world to the effort to release those children and babies and elderly people that are held, I don't even know in what conditions. There's no place for this. And there's no reason to hold innocent people, innocent civilians. They can have their prisoners as far as I'm concerned. They're all monsters anyway. All I want is my children back in their beds. They don't have a home to come back to, but they have a mother to come back to. I'm hoping that their father, my ex-husband, is with them. I don't know. I'm hoping that his girlfriend, who's such a wonderful lady, is with them and taking care of them. I'm hoping that they're treating women there. The women should be treated. That they are not torturing them and raping them. Help us get them back. Bring the kids alive home now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Elena. I know how hard it is. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. We'll move to Shaili Atali, that is also here with us. Shaili, thank you for being with us. Thank you for giving us your time and telling your story.
Okay. Sorry. I'm a bit stressed and I would like to, okay. I would like to read it. Okay. My name is Shaili Atali. My husband's name was Yahav Vinel, and he was murdered this week in Kibbutz Kfar Aza when he sacrificed his life for me and for our 1-month-old daughter, Shaya. That her name is a combination of our name, his name Yav, and mine, Shaili Shaya. Yav was a talented filmmaker. He was a dreamer. But the thing he really wanted in his life more than anything was to be a father. We were together for 10.5 years, and we waited for this baby for a long time. She was like a miracle to us. So it was early morning. Our green kibbutz was quiet when Yav woke me up for my shift with Shaya. He told me that she could wake up to eat shortly. She didn't have time to wake up, and suddenly a massive explosion started. I ran to the safe room, which is our bedroom. Sorry, man. Okay, so I ran to the safe room, which is our safe room, and locked the iron door behind me. I was gasping for air while he was trying to figure out with his friends on the shared WhatsApp group what was going on. People started writing that they were being shot outside the house. We understood that there was an infiltration by terrorists, but we suddenly realized that our dog Buckley was not with us in the safe room, and Yav opened the door to bring him inside. When he came with Buckley, I really asked him, don't go out the door, but he insisted to go and bring Buckley. And then I remember he came back and I asked him, Yav, are we going to die? And he said, Mommy, we're not going to die today. Not long after this, I remember voices outside of the window of the terrace saying, Ta'al, Ta'al. They called people to come to the houses to kill the people. And they said hello, they laughed. Yav we suddenly switched into silent language. We didn't make a sound, nothing. And we had an agreement silently that is you're with the door, I'm with the baby. This was the agreement. Suddenly the window opened. A hand came in through the window and moved the iron of the bedroom window. Pushed the rail of the iron against them. We didn't have time to say goodbye. I barely got a glance, a short one. Yav, with his hand and body, fought the terrorists who entered the bedroom, and he sacrificed his life for me and Shaya, so we could escape from there. I took Shaya on my hands. I opened the safe room. I went through Shaya's room. I opened the plastic accordion door on the entrance of the house and ran out without shoes, without nothing on me. And I'm disabled in my left leg, so I was limping. So it didn't allow me to run fast. So I had to hide between bushes as I hear the shotting on me and my little baby girl. I hide behind. Sorry, I need to come back to the paper. So I hide behind trees and behind bushes, and the voices calling Ta'al, Ta'al came toward me. I tried to knock on my neighbor's window, but everybody told us from the kibbutz, stay inside, don't open up the doors to nobody. So they didn't open up the door, and if I could say, it's Shaili, it's me, the terrorists will hear me. So I walked through several yards until I found a garden shed that was open of my neighbor's Asher, and the voices of the terrorists got louder as I ran. So I told myself that if Shaya will be quiet, everything will be okay. And she was still sleeping on my hands. So I got inside the shed and I looked for something sharp, and I found a hammer and something like a screwed up driver with a hook. I put it inside my pajama in the pockets, and I saw a washing machine. I got behind her. I put empty pots on our heads and sandbags of the garden, and I tried to tell myself, if she will be silent, we'll be okay. I understood that I'm like prey. So I took my pinky and this is what this is what he taught me in the hospital. If I put inside, it's like a pacifier to a baby. Maybe thanks to that pinky inside, she got a bit sleep, but then suddenly she woke up. She started crying. So in one moment, the call of the terrorists became louder, and I knew that now they know where I was. I realized there is no choice. I have no choice. I have to go outside. But the problem is that there was a large lawn in front of me. Like the yards were stopped, and there was a large lawn until the next row. And I understand all of the houses see that lawn. And I understand if now I run with Shaya, they all shot and shoot at me. But I saw a laundry room that was open on the other side. And I told myself a wall is better than a bush or a tree. So I told myself, Shaili, run. Don't look back. Don't look back. I heard the shooting behind me. I got to the laundry room. Okay. And I arrived to the laundry room, and then a couple of angels named Zoli and Liron called me through the blinds of the window of their house. And when I entered, their three little childs in Bar, Zar, and Daniel cried when they saw a shadow of a large figure like me with a hammer in the shadow. They thought I'm a terrorist. And Okay, so I told them, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I cried because I knew that when I get this child, I'm getting the terrorist to their house if she cries. But Liron told me, you did exactly what you should have done. And then I later realized that when she was comforting me, I knew after that she already received a message from her sister's children who told her mom and dad are dead. And they saw it in front of their eyes. And her sister child that was dead didn't know. They told her, I don't know, where is Abigail? She's 4 years old and she's currently kidnapped to Gaza along with other mother who has also lost her husband in this massacre. And he was murdered. And little Abigail, the 4-year-old, was kidnapped with that mother who lost her husband and her 3 children to Gaza. I felt so terrible when I entered that house because I understood. And I understood that Shaya is like a magnet to terrorists. I mean, throughout the 27 hours, we were besieged in that safe room of their house without water, without food. Every time Shaya cried, the shooting was only more. When she screamed, we all felt like more shooting. When she didn't scream, less shooting. So I was so sorry. I was so sorry. Like, they sacrificed the risk of their 3 children for us. And I felt like there was a competition of the terrorists around us who can kill that baby. And finally, after 27 hours, the fighters managed to rescue us. But Shaya was already apathic. She's 1 month old. She was so dehydrated that the hospital said in the report that she was crying without tears. Sorry. I inhaled so much smoke that the burning house next to it. She was given oxygen in the hospital for 29 hours. No one found the one who found the body of my husband Yav is my neighbor Nira. She told me that Yav did not suffer much. He was shot in his head and his dreamy blue eyes was still looking at the horizon. She told me he was so naive when he ran out after stalling them the window. He even tried to close the crappy plastic accordion door on them and blocked it with the baby's trolley. I have myself optimistic he really thought this lousy accordion door would stop the 70 terrorists who entered our home. But what I could actually understand from what Nira said is that Yav didn't save me and Shaya once. He saved us twice. He could have ran through the door. He knew that but if he does that, he would attract the murderers through us. And he loved me so much. He loved us so much that he sacrificed his life twice for us, twice. And how absurd is that? He died near Shaya's trolley. I thought of it a lot. And all our family is broken. It burns inside our soul. They slaughtered us like a flock of sheep. Indiscriminately, they murdered families with children while begging them for mercy. Yav's father, Ofer, who now also has to bury his son, found out later that in Nis Hadar, Yav's cousin, who is also in our kibbutz Kfar Aza, was also murdered along with her husband. And the army found their twin babies a few months old later, starving without food and water, and also without their father and mother. I don't have enough sorrow inside my heart to contain this. I even cannot understand what we've been through. I don't know how to live without Yav. I never thought I should live without Yav. I thought we'll get all together in the kibbutz and we'll have children to live with. I try to tell myself in this cliche you have in Hebrew. I know it's in Hebrew. I don't know if it's in another language. That in his death he commanded me life. And yes, and I try to look at Shaya, this little beautiful little child, and remember what we agreed in that safe room. You hold the door, and I'm with the baby. But I miss him so much. I miss him so much. I will miss him until the rest day of my life. And I try to take solace in the fact that at least they didn't manage to burn the babies, my baby, like they did to other bodies of baby. They burned them. At least they didn't open the stomach of myself, like they didn't open my stomach like they did to a woman that was pregnant and took her fetus. At least my dog Buckley eventually got rescued and not shot for fun like other dogs in the telegram. I don't understand how human beings, can do such horrible things. It's not human. It's cruelty that is hard for me to grasp. It's a massacre. It's not like it's not the same from Sunday. It's a massacre. Like the Holocaust, like you see in Holocaust films. And I'm a filmmaker. Me and Yav, a filmmaker. I actually, in that shed, try to think what a woman pregnant or with a child in the Holocaust would do. This was my instinct feelings. The bodies of my neighbors, my friend, was dismembered. It was impossible to identify the bodies because they was butchered inside the sakiyot bags. You cannot understand who it was. It was legs, it was hands. And I asked why? Why? Because we're Jews? Why? If we're Jews, you need to burn a baby. It's okay to kidnap women and post it on a video when you tied her on a car and led her because she's kidnapped because she's a Jew. Is it human to kidnap children and torture them? They're children. The world should see this crime, and you should be shocked, and you should be realized they should condemn it. They will be on the wrong side of the history. If not, it's not justification. There is no justification to murder innocent civilians. And Hamas must be stopped because Hamas is not a movement. It's not a government. It's a terror organization. And you should see it in your eyes to understand it's a terror organization. That's it. I don't have nothing. Like this I wrote, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I know how hard it is. It's hard for all of us. I'll say a few words from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I'll open the floor for questions. We are at war. It's a war that was forced upon us by a terror organization, a vicious, worse than ISIS terror organization. They murdered more than 1,300 Israelis. Vast majorities are civilians, babies, kids, women, elderly people, Holocaust survivors. They kidnapped more than 150 people, including babies and kids and Holocaust survivors, old people. They shot more than 5,000 rockets since the beginning of last week. All of them were targeting Israeli civilians in the south of Israel, in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, and other places. This is an ISIS-like terror organization, and the response of the international community should be the same response like we did to ISIS. Israel receives an unprecedented support from the international community. We've seen statements, we've seen speeches, historical speeches by leaders like the one by President Biden or the one by Chancellor Scholz in Germany and many others. We have hosted visits of world leaders that came here to support us and show their solidarity. The Foreign Minister of Germany and Italy, and the UK, the State Secretary of the United States that came once and is coming again today, and the Foreign Minister of the Czech Republic, and there are many others that are coming in the next few days. And it's very important for us. Our goal is to stop and end the Hamas control in the Gaza Strip. This is it. We cannot live in a reality when those monsters live next door to us on the other side of the border. We cannot accept a reality where our neighbors are controlled by a terror organization worse than ISIS that is a goal is to murder and butcher each and every one of us. And I'll say more, it's not just an Israeli problem. It's a problem of the entire Western world. If we won't stop it now, the next ones will be you. In Europe, in the United States, in Latin America, we have to put a stop for it now. And we need time to do that. For the last 18 years since Israel left the Gaza Strip, Hamas has been building its terror capabilities in the Gaza Strip for this day to attack us, to murder us, while we are defending our citizens and any other country in the world would. Hamas is using their own population as human shields. They are blocking the road so the civil population of the Gaza Strip won't be able to move south because they need them for their propaganda. They want them to die. We need time. And we need time to finish the job with Hamas. The civil population in the Gaza Strip is not our enemy. There is no other country in the world that does the efforts that Israel is doing in order to prevent civilian casualties, both in our side of the border and in their side of the border. What we are dealing with monsters. And there's one other thing I'll ask you to do as journalists. Because I've been giving interviews all the time, and I see that people are talking about the attacks in Gaza, and I see that people are talking about the casualties there. Put it in context. Israel is not just attacking the Gaza Strip. Israel is defending itself. Israel is defending its citizens. And if you don't mention it in each and every story you write, on each and every article you publish, you are not telling the entire story. We will open the floor for questions. You can either raise your hand in the camera, or you can raise your hand through the Zoom application. We have a question from the Romanian television. Yes, unmute yourself, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Costin Soare from Romania TV. Tell me, please, you have postponed the ground operation for several times by now. Can you tell us why, and if there was any international pressure on that? And is it going to be a ground operation of the Israeli army? Thank you.
I won't go into military details. How Israel is preparing for, the Israeli army is preparing for the exact goal that the Israeli government gave it, is to finish the Hamas control over Gaza. We will do that with all our power, with all the measures that we have. And I repeat, we do need international support for that, because it's going to be a long war and it's going to be a tough one, but we will win this war in the end. Tulip?
Hi, my question, I'm from Thailand. My question is about the hostage situation. As you know, that at least we have 17 Thais holding hostage right now in Gaza. We would like to know what kind of mechanism Israeli government had to negotiate with Hamas about these foreign hostages. And is Hezbollah becoming a more warring element in this conflict? So it's two questions. Thank you.
One of our most important goals is to release all the hostages that are in the Gaza Strip. And we will do whatever we can to do that. I don't think there is a way to negotiate with those monsters. Actually, they are looking for this international pressure. This is their game. We will do whatever we can to release them. The responsibility for their lives and their well-being lays on Hamas, the same as the responsibility of the casualties in the Israeli side of the border and in the within the Gaza Strip. Hezbollah, that is similar to Hamas, because it's both Hamas and Hezbollah are financed and controlled by Iran and are doing the job of Iran. The terror government of Tehran is trying to create another front for Israel. We've sent a lot of messages to the Lebanese government. It's your responsibility. If Hezbollah will enter this war, they will pay a huge price, and Lebanon will pay a huge price for doing that. We have no will to start a new front, but we will respond to any attack on Israel. Aline?
Hey, good morning. Thank you very much, Arin Borcha from DG24 in Romania. I have two questions. One regarding the foreigners in the Gaza Strip. Is the Rafah border crossing opened or not to evacuate foreign citizens from the Gaza Strip? And the second question is regarding the displays of sympathy, the protests with the Palestinian cause and Hamas in Western capitals. How does Israel seize this kinds of displays of sympathy for a terrorist organization? Thank you.
Regarding the Rafah cross, I really don't know. It's a border with Egypt, and you should ask Egypt about it. I can't tell you more than that. I'm actually shocked to see people supporting Hamas. This is sickening. Really, there is no other word for that. There are no two sides to this conflict. If someone is not standing with Israel today, is standing with the monsters that murdered babies, kids, women, old people. This is it. There is no equality in the two sides. If you're not standing against terror, you are part of terror. As clear as that. I will remind you that we have Ranana and Shaili with us. You can also ask them questions. I think it's more important than to have an official spokesperson talk. Azura?
Thank you. Italian Public Radio. How is the Israeli army contending and responding to the threat from the north at this stage? And what is expected in the next phase from this front? Thank you.
I'll start by saying I'm not a spokesperson of the Israeli army. I'm the spokesperson of the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We are dealing with a threat from the north. There is a terror organization, Hezbollah, that is controlled by Iran, that is shooting at Israeli civilians and Israeli troops in the north. We are responding to that. we've sent a clear message to the government of Lebanon. If there will be a second front, Lebanon will pay a huge price for it. Samuel.
Yes, good morning from Switzerland. A short question concerning the hostages. You just mentioned that negotiating with Hamas is off the table. So I was wondering if you could maybe shed some light on how Israel is planning to free the hostages, and specifically if you know of the whereabouts of any of these hostages in Gaza. Thank you.
I think that I've said enough about the hostages. I'm not going to really give any more information on this issue. Angela, please unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Lior. This is the National from Abu Dhabi. So my question is, there has been protests all over the world in European countries and in Muslim countries against Israel and for pro-Palestine. Are you concerned that this could lead to the question of safety of your embassies and consulates across the world? And what steps are being taken to protect your staff and the safety of your missions abroad?
First of all, I'll repeat and say those protests are sickening. I cannot understand anyone who stands for the atrocities of what Hamas terrorists have done. If you are not standing with the victims in this attack, you are supporting the vicious crimes, war crimes, and crimes against humanity that Hamas has done. And I'm happy to say the Western world's government are standing shoulder to shoulder with Israel, and the visits that we have here are a clear message to that. We are looking into the safety of Israelis and Israelis envoys around the world. There was an employee of the Israeli embassy in China that was stabbed. We don't know the entire the background of this attack, but this is definitely one of the options, is that it was stabbed because he represents Israel. I won't go into security details. We have seen before that Hezbollah and Iran have attacked Israeli diplomats. So did the Palestinians. There was a terror attack against the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires. There was a terror attack by Hezbollah against the building of the Jewish community in Buenos Aires. There were attacks against Israeli diplomats in different parts of the world. This shows again the ugly face of the terror that is controlled, financed, and pushed by Iran. This is not just an Israeli threat. This is not just a threat on Israel. It's a threat on the entire free world. If we won't win this war against Hamas today, the next ones will be the rest of the free world. Ethan.
When you say that you're feeling the support of Western world governments, are people saying to you, are the governments saying that in fact your plan to eliminate Hamas's infrastructure, both military and political, is one that they endorse? Or are they simply saying, yes, they come with sympathy for the horrors that happened here? Because I think there is a gap between what Israel's plans are.
Sorry,
you can't hear me?
Your question, can you repeat?
Sure. Yes. When you say that Western governments have shown to be standing shoulder to shoulder with you and supporting you, I want to understand if they are telling you that the plan to eliminate Hamas from Gaza is something that they endorse, or do you mean by that they share the horror and the sympathy of what happened here? Because the impression I have is that there is a gap between the conclusion that Israel draws about the support and, in fact, what's out there. So I'm eager to know what you're hearing diplomatically. Are they saying, yes, go in and destroy Hamas?
I think that I can quote President Biden, what he said today. There should be an end to the control of Hamas over the Gaza Strip. This is as clear as it goes. And when they say that Israel has a right to defend itself, this is exactly what we mean, because we are defending ourselves. Ending the Hamas control over the Gaza Strip is self-defense for the people of Israel. Every government in the world has the right, and actually, it's not just the right, this is our responsibility to defend our citizens. And if we won't put an end to the Hamas control over the Gaza Strip, we are not doing our work. Yes, there is someone with the name user.
Yes, good morning. From Prima TV, Romania. I was wondering if you can receive the recording of this meeting or if we can find it somewhere.
Yeah, it's being recorded. If you were invited by the embassy, you will get the recording afterwards.
Okay, thank you very much.
There is a question to Renana, whether you want to give the names of the photos of your 12 and 16-year-old sons that will be published, Renana.
No, I'm giving no photos or names since I'm very scared of manipulations that the enemy might do by them. So I'm speaking for them, and I want you to imagine two beautiful, beautiful teenagers. Just imagine your children there. I'm giving no photos, but I will give an interview or my photos to anyone who wishes. I'm here to tell the story, and I'm here to bring my boys back home alive now. Thank you.
And Shiley, in the group chat, they've asked if you can repeat the name of your husband and the name of your baby and the name of the kibbutz that you were in.
My kibbutz that there is no longer existed is kibbutz Kfar Aza. I wish everyone would live in such a beautiful place when it's not hell. And my husband's name is Yaviner.
Yahav Wiener, yes.
Yahav Wiener. My daughter's name, my baby name is Shaya Wiener Atari. My name is Shaya.
With that,
if I may add, the place I used to live in is Kibbutz Niroz, which is also gone, just like Shiley's place. It was beautiful, just near as Kfar Aza.
I will conclude this press conference. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Renana and Shiley, for being with us, for telling your story. I know how hard it is. My heart goes out to you. I want to thank Lieutenant Colonel Peter Leonard that was with us. I really hope we'll get good news soon to both of you and to all the families of the abducted Israelis. And to the rest of you, thank you for joining us today. I'll repeat the question, my ask from before. Please tell the story. Tell the context. Don't forget the horrific attack that Israel suffered, the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Please tell this story. Thank you very much.